If Marcus Mariota has to play, do you feel comfortable that they'll win the game? Because, there are a lot of people that just say, no matter what, sit Jayden Daniels. Bottom line, sit him. Doesn't matter if he's 100% healthy. Caution is the overriding rule here. We don't need him to play the game after he got banged up, 10 days ago. We're good with Marcus Mariota. He proved it last year in the Carolina game when he had to come in against a terrible opponent. And this opponent isn't, that threatening. If Marcus Mariota has to start the game, are you comfortable that it's a win, that they can go out and beat the Raiders? Like, you're okay because you feel like this is the perfect spot. Raiders in town, West Coast team coming east after a Monday night game for a 1 p.m. start, and you feel good about it. 301-230-0980, 301-230-0980. I'll tell you what, I don't think that any game right now for this football team is a gimme, even with Jayden playing. I feel very good that the offense will be what we expected it to be before the season started with Jayden at quarterback. It may not have looked that way at all last Thursday night. I think it was more about the opponent. I think the game against the Giants, there's a lot of hand-wringing over what they did offensively against New York in that game. First of all, New York's a good offensive football team. Secondly, Washington was very close to a much bigger offensive day and more points. I mean, they ended up with 432 yards of offense. They averaged nearly 7 yards per play. They had 25 first downs in the game. They did score 21. They did have some decent field position in that game, but penalties, drops, couple of misses, the deep ball to Terry that Jayden missed on, it was pretty close to being a day that looked like last year. So I actually am not off the confidence level when it comes to what kind of team this team will be offensively this year. And I think it could be that kind of day against the Raiders with Jayden at the helm. With Marcus Mariota at the helm, it's not that I feel like it's a massive step back. It's a big step back, but it's not a step back that you can't overcome. This isn't a situation where, put it this way, if Carson Wentz were starting for us on Sunday, I'd feel a lot worse. I actually think Mariota is the perfect fit for this offense. He's got a good relationship with Kingsbury. They're all connected in that quarterback room. I feel good about that, but I don't think the game is a given. I wouldn't have said it was a given with Jayden, but I would have felt very comfortable that the situation of the Raiders Monday night short week, Washington with the longer rest, that this was a chance to get right. I would have felt like with Jayden, and it still might feel that way, with Jayden at the helm, that this would be a get-right game. With Marcus Mariota, I think it is a coin flip game. I think they can win it. I don't feel like they're doomed at all. He's good enough where they can go out and win this game Sunday for a lot of the reasons I mentioned, but I don't feel as good about it. This isn't anywhere near a lock. Look, the bottom line is whether or not it's more winnable, whether or not they feel like it's a winnable game with them or a much dicier game with them. If Jayden's not healthy, you can't play him in week 3. If he's not 100%, you cannot play him. And that's what we learned from Quinn yesterday. He's got to practice this week. So it's either today or on Friday, he's got to practice. Look, based on what Quinn said yesterday, if he doesn't practice today or tomorrow, he's going to be out. It's not going to be a Chicago situation from last year where he doesn't practice and then all of a sudden on game day, they announce he's the starting quarterback. They weren't sure. They took it all up. They took it all the way up to, game time on that Sunday afternoon. This is a 1:00 game, big time rest from last week. I don't feel like they should play him unless he is 100. But if they don't play him, this is a dicey game. That's the way I would describe it. I would say they certainly can win it. I feel a lot better with Mariota than I would a lot of other backups. But this is a game where the Raiders will be licking their chops because even though the offense doesn't change much, it's a totally different quarterback that you're planning for in terms of his athleticism. And Mariota's athletic. He is. We saw the running against the Cowboys in the season finale last year. That game was, Mariota. Now, there were some rough moments too, but he looked good. 301-230-0980, 301-230-0980. If Mariota needs to play and ends up starting the game, do you think the game is, a game that is winnable, that they will win? What's your confidence level with Mariota at the helm? 301-230-0980. All of our football talk on the Team 980 and on this particular show brought to you by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Stream your local NFL game live every Sunday, all season long, starting at just $30 for your first year. That's like $2.50 a month. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. If Marcus Mariota needs to start Sunday, describe how you'll feel. Confident, not confident? I say it's a dicey game with Mariota at the helm. I say it's definitely a borderline coin flip game. I really feel that way. Now, I do kind of like the matchup defensively up front with Kinlaw, with Payne, even without Wise against the Raiders' offensive line. Like, if they can stop the run and they can make Geno one-dimensional, it could be a defensive-led victory, a 20-10 kind of defensive-led victory. But it's much dicier than it would be. And I would certainly not go into that 1 o'clock kick Sunday with Mariota suiting up as the starter thinking, yeah, we got this. What about you, Max?
I mean, I'm not going to go in thinking that, we're on top of the world, but I can sell myself on a few things. So like you said, West Coast team coming east. I can sell myself on a Marcus Mariota revenge game because I can also sell myself on just Marcus Mariota in general, because there's a reason that he's the backup quarterback in this system. I think the coaching staff is very confident in his ability to articulate and to execute everything in this offense that he needs to do. Now, when Jayden went out of that Dallas game, it did not look good at all in the final week before the playoffs, before we played the Bucs. And then Marcus Mariota came in, and it was kind of like night and day. It was very odd. It felt like we were in the twilight zone of sorts. But I think that this would be the time to get Mariota in. Now, what was it? Achilles tendonitis that he's dealing with, that does kind of worry me a little bit. But
he's fine now. He said he was fine now. He said he's been fine for a few weeks.
Yeah. So I'll believe him there. But I can definitely it's something the win is something I can sell myself on. Now, not wholly confident, but I'd say 60-40 that I'd be confident that this team can get the win. Now, I do believe I'm kind of in the same line of thinking as you, that it's probably going to be a defensive-led game. Kinlaw's going to have to come up big. Dorrance Armstrong's going to have to come up big. That defensive front as a whole is going to have to shut down Ashton Genty. But
maybe get a couple takeaways too. Geno threw 3 picks on Monday night. You get a couple of those. You get a couple of easy scores, and you win that game. But I like Marcus Mariota. I thought he played well last year. It's night and day. With Jayden in this spot on Sunday, healthy, I'm like, this is a get-right game. This feels like 35-17, 2-1 headed to Atlanta. If he doesn't play, I feel like this could be, unless you get a couple of takeaways defensively, this could be dicey. This could be very close. This could be a last possession type of game. What do you think if Mariota needs to go